Oh boy, interesting conversation. Shouts out to D Derrel. So this live stream is just a reaction to a conversation that was brought up. One of the things was brought up about street harassment, and when this conversation goes on, I always see it's always one sided on it's all the men and then always all the women's side. Well, if the women would just dress this certain way, then these men wouldn't be acting the way they are. Or if these men would just act right and let the women dress how they want to dress, then you know everything be good. It doesn't work that way. We have to remember one thing: perception is everything. So if you dress a certain way, they're going to perceive you a certain way. If you are dressed like some of these women, you go down the street like the women in the background here, and you dress like that, dudes are going to think a certain way about you. It's just like if that guy is dressing like he a broke motherfucker, homeless, what you going to think? He's homeless. So there's that going on. Yes, there's men who need to act right. And what's also not brought up is we bring up the extremes where, well, it don't matter what a woman wears, a man will rope or rape her or harass her. Yes, those guys exist. But those are people who got mental issues, who got some entitlement issues. When most time when guys talk about how you're dressed and stuff like that, they're not talking about the extreme cases. We're talking about the people in the middle. We're talking about the normal men and how they perceive you. I think that's what's lost. It's like how normal men perceive you, not the dude who's going to harass you, no matter if you're wearing something like that in the background or just normal wear or even a Habib or whatever. We're talking about normal men and how they view you. So yes, normal men should, and most normal men are going not to be groping you, harassing you, and nothing like that. What is not talked about is though is like those normal men are going to think a certain way about you, and that can cause problems in how you're viewed. Now, the other thing I did talk about on the live stream about at my job, everybody knows I'm a correctional officer. We have women over there who are, I don't like to say blessed. They blessed. And y'all don't know what blessed means, you know. Like Meg the Stallion's blessed. Okay. And so you have an inmate who's been in prison 6 months, years. It's expected that they're going to act a certain way towards a woman who's blessed. However, what my job also does is that okay, you have these you bless. So let's accentuate that so they get them smocks. So that de-emphasizes their their things and make sure that their pants and shirt are not as tight. You can't correct it. You get curves, but you can de-emphasize it. So they do that. So again, it goes back to perception. If you're emphasizing your blessings, dudes are going to react a certain way. Now, on the same thing, that there are men who need to know how to act like you've seen breasts and titties. Listen, this is from the Etche Expo that I went to a year ago. Now, here's the thing. The year prior, before I went, they had an issue. One, a lot of the biggest cosplayers, female cosplayers, got harassed. They got touched. Dudes who, let's face it, some of these dudes who's probably never seen a naked titty in their life, or bucky naked looking like this, so they don't know how to react. So they were doing crazy shit. So some of the women was like, "We're not going back." So the organization, they looked at that and they saw the complaints, and they were like, "Look, guys, listen. When we first got in there, they was like, listen, listen. We know these women half naked. We know how they dressed. That don't give you the right to touch them. If they want to take pictures with you, great. If they let you touch them, great. But if they don't want to be touched, they don't want to be bothered, it's a no. And if you violate, we're going to kick you the fuck out." And they had a lot of security. So to make sure that you're not going to do that. I also go to swinger clubs. And one particular that I go to a lot, they're that's their thing to make sure that the women okay. Hey, you are you being harassed? Are you good? You good? Even with their husbands. Hey, y'all good? Anybody bothering you? Hey, let us know. And if somebody is acting a fool, they harassing, they get them up out of there quick, with no discussion. So that's how you control the situation. Because again, you're in a situation with a bunch of horny dudes, plus there's people bringing their own drinks. Dude's gonna act a fool. So how you address is going to cause that kind of reaction. But at the same time, you do need to have dudes um, be under control. If she want to be touched, go ahead. If she want to be looked at, go ahead. Do it. She don't want to be bothered, don't bother her. It's simple. Now, just like in the community, yes, we should be doing better in minimizing this street harassment. We should be. But the reality is, a lot of times, a lot of men don't have the power to control their communities. They just don't. They don't have the support. Because I remember the woman was saying, well, well, the men should protect us. Okay, yeah, but they need the tools to protect. And I've said this before. You want the community helps the individual, and the individual helps the community. You want these men to be able to at least minimize it. You can't outright get rid of it. Because again, it's in every community. I don't get, yes, we talk about the black community, but it's in every community. It's it just is. Every community has dudes who harass women. But the goal is to minimize these goofs. So yeah, you do need to address it if it becomes a problem. But the problem is, again, in the black community, we don't control the community. It's not your community. And the black men who would do something don't have the tools to do anything because they don't have the support of the community. Okay, let's just say she gets harassed and he decides to intervene, say something, maybe have to put hands on this dude. He goes to jail. Is somebody gonna bail him out? I remember one dude said, well, he better have his own money to take care of that. So again, you want men to protect the community, but you don't want to safeguard these men for protecting the community. How does that work? You can't have it both ways. You want protection, but you have to protect the protectors. If you're not protecting the protectors, they're not going to do anything. It's just like I say about her online. Well, the black men should talk to these dudes who are harassing and who bothering women online. Yeah, they should, but talking only so far because we don't own the platforms that this is happening. We don't own YouTube. We don't own Instagram. We don't own Facebook. We don't own Reddit. We don't own these platforms. So to pre- to prevent that, it's going to be impossible because you don't own it. And for some of these women who will get on here and say, well, they don't do that in the white community, you tripping. They have it just as bad. I mean, go look at YouTube and you will see a white woman complain about the harassment they get from white men. They complain about this stuff. It's just you're so focused on black issues that you don't understand. This is not a black problem. This is a society problem that is not going to go away anytime soon. In order to effectively reduce it, the men in the community got to have power. The power to punish with impunity. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it. And why you think there were a lot of white cops? They became cops to punish people they see fit with impunity. Black men don't have that. In a lot of communities, they don't have that kind of power. If they go after the rapist, the murder, the harasser, the rapist, all that gropist, and all that kind of stuff, he has a risk going to jail. He has a risk of losing his job. Now his kids are suffering. Now his wife is coming if he has a wife, or he a baby. He has baby. He had kids. Now he has no job. Or outright lose his life, and nobody's going to pay for these dudes' funeral bills. Nobody's going to pay for these kids to get to college. It's again, you want the protectors to protect, then you need to protect the protectors. Because the goal is not, oh, I'm not afraid to go to jail. Who gives a fuck if you ain't afraid to go to jail? These white folks, oh, you're not afraid to go to jail. We want you to go to jail. Win-win. The goal is to not go to jail. I'm not afraid to go to jail because I ain't going to jail. I'm going to be right here. And if you do stuff to these women, we're going to do stuff to you, and we ain't going to jail. You ain't going to get no comeuppance. That's what you're going to have to get to. But unless you get to that point, and which ultimately means creating your own communities. But again, it goes back to you need to support the ones who's trying to do the right thing, emphasize that more. Because if you're not doing that, and they see that, oh, I stopped this one harassment, nobody gives a fuck. Oh, he nobody cares. Oh, I'm going to jail trying to help her, but nobody's taking care of my kids. Nobody's helping me with bail money. Nobody's helping me with a lawyer. Why am I gonna do that? Again, you have to protect the protectors, and if you're not protecting the protectors, you're having a problem. And going back to the street harassment again, it can't be one-sided. So that also means women gonna have to be dressing more appropriate because again, perception is everything. How you look is how you're gonna be treated. That is society because that's just our judgment. Because a lot of times it's for protection. We need to protect ourselves. So I got to make a split decision about who you are so I know how to treat you. So if you walking around looking like this in the background, I'm going to treat you a certain way. That's just how it is. That's just how it's going to be. So yes, it's a combination of both. Now, if you don't give a fuck, no problem. You don't have to. But the amount of protection that you would get dressing like that back there, as opposed to dressing normally, it's going to be less. It's just that that's how that goes. And again, the community helps the individual helps the community. So if you want more protection from men, you're going to have to support the men that's willing to do that. Or there's the other option. There's a lot of land out there that you can go buy. And so you can have your own community so that people on both ends, the harassers and the women who dress like this, you can control who'll be in there. So you don't want women that dress like that? No, you can't come here. No, you have to dress a certain way. Hey, dude, don't mess with these women like that. Don't harass them. Don't do nothing like that because you're going to cause a problem. And then we're going to have a problem with you and we're going to get you the fuck about it. And we're not going to jail. So the whole thing with street harassment is always there's nothing you can do to stop it. You can minimize it. Because again, you got dudes who don't have access to this like that. They haven't seen women like this. And I'm just using these women as an example. Because I've seen black women who dress like this too. And not just at these anime conventions, not even at the club, but just walking down the street. And I'm like, why? But that does that give them the right to be harassed? No. Does that invite harassment? No. But that's going to cause a perception of you that you may. Some people might want that perception, but then they're not willing to deal with some of the consequences that come with that perception. And that's the bigger issue. You can't do anything without consequences. And if you're not ready to deal with the consequences, well, you're gonna have to change some of your behavior. And guys, if you harassing these women, there's consequences for that too. Now these women are angry and they perceive you in a certain type of way. There are consequences for your actions. And if you don't think that you think that you're entitled to do something, you're not. No woman is entitled. I mean, no man is entitled to a woman's attention. I don't care how she dressed. At the same token, no woman is entitled to protection. You're not entitled to anything. If it's given, it's given. And if you want to give more, then you need to support the people who's giving it and make sure they are protected so they can do that. If you're not going to do that, then you ain't going to get that protection. Other communities, yes, they get protected. Those women get protected, but there's a cost. Those men ain't doing it for free. I don't care what anybody tell you. They're not doing it for free. It's protection costs. And if you don't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. And having access to beautiful women costs. I don't know what else to tell you. So, with that, this is Brother Speak of the Brother Speak podcast. I just want to keep this real short, even though it's about 20 minutes long. Like, comment, and subscribe. And Black men, be powerful or be powerless. Choice is yours. Peace.